Like it tastes like a chemical.
So when I was doing the review, there was just so many red flags that I saw on it. Like the label, you know, when you make a USDA label, you have to put in batch numbers because if something were to be recalled, you have to be able to trace it down to the salt and pepper that is in something.
Okay, but why would I contact someone who's fabricating something on the internet?
But nothing was fabricated.
To be honest, you're not special. You're not special, okay?
The pink sauce situation started way smaller than people remember. A woman calling herself Chef P claimed she worked as a private event caterer for celebrities. One day, while just experimenting in her kitchen, she mixed together a bright pink sauce. Nothing special at first, except for one thing. The color was wild, neon pink, eye-catching, impossible to ignore. Then she poured it all over random foods on camera, and the internet locked in immediately. People were not talking about flavor. They were talking about shock value. The look alone made it spread everywhere. Curiosity took over fast. Everyone wanted to know what it tasted like, what was in it, and why it even existed. Instead of slowing down or getting professionals involved, Chef P rushed straight into production mode. She launched a website, slapped a $20 price tag on each bottle, and started selling it directly to customers from her own home. Here's where things went left. The sauce contained dairy, including milk, which is extremely perishable. Despite that, it was shipped with 0 preservatives and no temperature-controlled packaging. These bottles were sent through the mail during peak summer heat. Hot trucks, long delivery times, and sealed containers created the worst possible conditions.
Bad, definitely not worth $20 a bottle, but we support small businesses. I don't know if she's fixing things or not. That's not my problem. Today, when I went to go open it, something is not right. The smell that's coming out of this bottle, something is wrong. It's rotten. There is a piece of glitter.
The results were ugly. Customers started receiving bottles that smelled off, had strange textures, or showed visible signs of spoilage. Some bottles arrived swollen, leaking, or completely burst open from gas buildup inside. That alone was a massive red flag, but it did not stop there. Multiple people reported getting sick after consuming the sauce. Health experts later suggested the risk of botulism, which can happen when bacteria grows in sealed, oxygen-free environments. This is not a joke illness. It can be life-threatening. At that point, it became clear this was no longer internet fun. This was a public safety issue.
My royalty is supposed to be paid to me before any expenses. When I received my royalty for Q1, it was paid to me before any expenses. Now that I'm uncomfortable and they know that I would have been hiring legal help, they make this bogus excuse as to why they're putting expenses on top of my royalty. It does not work like that.
Sauce has a unique taste, it tastes like its own thing. You can't really compare it to anything else.
On top of that, the production process looked reckless. No gloves, no hair protection, no sanitation standards. She was pouring sauce into containers that looked like candle holders instead of food-safe bottles. Everything about it screamed unregulated and unsafe. What made it worse was how confident she appeared, fueled by online hype and blind support instead of actual knowledge. As backlash grew, Chef P leaned into a familiar move. She positioned herself as the victim. Any criticism was framed as hate, jealousy, or people trying to tear her down. But the truth was simple. This was someone clearly unprepared for food production at scale, ignoring basic safety rules and refusing to take accountability. That pattern only deepened later, especially after she appeared on a low-budget daytime talk show hosted by a man named Carmo, where the situation spiraled even further. From the moment the show started, it was obvious Carmo was not neutral. He came in already riding for Chef P, stepping in to soften every critique and deflect every hard question. Anytime the conversation got close to accountability, he rushed to shield her. It felt less like an interview and more like damage control disguised as daytime TV. The energy was strange.
Everyone was complaining because the sauce was like orange. Dave's Gourmet wasn't sharing information with me. They've crossed me so much that I have no choice but to file suit. You're not supporting me by purchasing this.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Instead of focusing on the real issue, which was unsafe food practices, the show leaned into sympathy. There was even a moment where it felt like the audience was being encouraged to applaud her resilience, as if nearly getting people sick was just a harmless mistake everyone should move past. That tone alone rubbed a lot of viewers the wrong way. Then they brought out a woman named Allie, who had previously made a critical review of the pink sauce. The setup made it seem like they wanted a dramatic confrontation. From the jump, Allie's criticism was framed as harassment rather than concern. It felt like the goal was to discredit her instead of actually addressing what she said. Before Allie even walked on stage, Chef P was already emotional, acting like a villain was about to appear. The narrative was clear. Chef P was the target of online bullying, and Allie was being positioned as the face of that supposed abuse. It played perfectly into the victim storyline Chef P had been running since the backlash began. What made it worse was the public response. Viewers did not buy it. The internet pushed back hard, calling out the bias and the manipulation. The backlash got so loud that Carmo later had to go back on his show and issue an apology, admitting that the segment did not come across the way he intended. After all that chaos, something unexpected happened. Instead of consequences, Chef P got an opportunity. A man named Dave Hirschkopf, the owner of Dave's Gourmet Sauces, stepped in and offered her a deal. He signed her to a full 360 food agreement, promising to legitimize the pink sauce brand. Production moved to a real distributor. Proper bottling was introduced. The sauce landed on Walmart shelves nationwide.
Sauce, and as we saw, it kind of looked like you were on the up and up. And unfortunately, you went live, I think the day before yesterday, with the GoFundMe saying that you are now facing eviction. You don't have food in your house. Your phone is off right now, so you're at a Starbucks just doing this interview, and you don't have any money to your name.
I'll tell you right now, I am sorry, just point blank period, that I gaslit you.
Worried about it being swollen. I don't know if this is considered swollen or not, or if that's what the bottle is, but...
At that point, Chef P seemed convinced she had won, like the storm had passed and success was locked in permanently. But reality hit fast. The product still had issues. The sauce color was inconsistent, sometimes barely pink at all. In many cases, the label was doing more work than the sauce itself. Reviews stayed mixed to negative, with customers unimpressed by the taste and confused by the presentation. The relaunch proved one thing clearly: a deal in shelf space cannot fix a shaky foundation. At this point, the pink sauce relaunch landed with a thud. Outside of people buying it strictly to make YouTube or TikTok reviews, nobody was really checking for it. Regular customers were not impressed. Sales moved slow, and almost immediately the product started popping up on clearance shelves. For a nationwide Walmart rollout, that is about as bad as it gets. The hype was gone, and the curiosity had expired. This is where the story takes a turn that feels familiar if you have ever watched Shark Tank. When someone has a product that looks decent on paper, but they clearly do not know how to run a business, the investor usually ends up with all the leverage.
I gave my recipe to swindlers. Of course they lied about everything they said in the beginning. I gave my recipe to swindlers. Of course they didn't involve me in the creation of the product. I gave my recipe to swindlers. Of course they took my ideas and tried to turn them into their own. I gave my recipe to swindlers. Of course they lied to the media to make me look like a bad person. I gave my recipe to swindlers. Of course they're trying to deteriorate my brand from their own mistakes.
I think she's one of the people that you said kept on with the harassment, right?
Yes.
I mean, the pink sauce clown even cries before they bring her out on stage.
What do you mean FDA approved? I don't sell medical products. The pink sauce don't contribute to your health. I never said that.
The person with the money becomes the majority voice. They restructure everything, fix the mess, handle logistics, and in return, they control the product and take most of the upside. That is exactly the position Dave was stepping into. His goal was to clean up the brand, stabilize production, and turn something chaotic into a real business. On paper, it made sense. The problem was that the end product still was not connecting with consumers. No amount of professional bottling could erase the reputation damage that already followed the sauce everywhere. That miscalculation changed everything. Once it became clear the product was not moving, Chef P snapped right back into defense mode. She went online and started dragging Dave publicly, accusing him of lying, manipulating numbers, and withholding money. She framed herself as betrayed yet again, claiming she had been taken advantage of behind closed doors. Then came the GoFundMe. She launched a fundraiser asking for $100,000, saying she needed help to survive and stay afloat. According to her, Dave failed to pay her what she was owed and was not transparent about sales tied to her sauce. The message was clear. She wanted the public to believe she was being pushed out and left with nothing. Dave did not stay quiet. After seeing his name get pulled through online drama, he responded with documentation, receipts, timelines, and numbers. According to him, he had already given Chef P a cash advance as a goodwill gesture. That money was used to cover refunds from her original product disaster, which totaled over $30,000. From his perspective, that move made sense. If you want a fresh start for a brand, you fix the past first. You clean up old damage, even if you were not the one who caused it.
Did Dave's Gourmet partner with Chef P? We saw the pink sauce go viral on TikTok along with everyone else. But with our 30+ years of making sauces, we offered our expertise instead of criticism. Dave's Gourmet entered a partnership to help bring Chef P's vision safely to the consumer market.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
That was part of trying to rebuild trust with customers and retailers. Instead of gratitude, the situation turned hostile. What could have been handled privately became another public spectacle. Once again, accountability got replaced with accusations, and the cycle repeated itself almost exactly as before. By this stage, the pink sauce relaunch was a straight-up commercial failure. Outside of people grabbing it just to film reaction videos on YouTube or TikTok, real customers were not buying it. There was no repeat demand, no word-of-mouth boost. The product hit store shelves and quietly stalled out. Before most people even realized it was nationwide, it was already showing up on clearance racks. That is usually the final warning sign that a brand is in trouble. This is where the situation starts to mirror something a lot of people recognize from shows like Shark Tank. When a founder clearly lacks business experience, but has a product that investors think might still be salvageable, the power dynamic flips fast. The investor brings money, structure, connections, and credibility. In exchange, they usually take control. Majority ownership, final say, and long-term authority over the product. That was the role Dave stepped into. His intention was not just to slap his name on the sauce, but to completely rebuild it from the inside out. New systems, real distribution, proper refunds, and a clean reset. From a business standpoint, that approach made sense. The problem was that the brand damage was already baked in. The product itself was no longer the issue. The reputation was. Consumers did not trust it, and many were not willing to give it another chance, no matter who was behind it. That part seems to have been badly miscalculated. Once sales failed to meet expectations, Chef P shifted right back into survival mode. She took to the internet and began accusing Dave of wrongdoing.
All right, y'all, let me show y'all one of the ways I mixed the blue sauce. And oh my gosh, it was so good. Okay, so first we gonna need an activator, okay? So here, I'm adding in the blue seasoning, and then I was doing Holy Spirit activate.
So I'm gonna give it up to you big time, because if I ever hear of a black woman that is creating her own business, big up, okay?
Thank you.
Because that is powerful. You know what I mean?
And
We have a world that tells you that you're not able to pursue these things, you're not able to do these things.
No, ma'am, we're not trying this. Look at this. It stinks like throw up.
Public posts, vague claims, and emotional framing flooded her pages. She painted herself as misled and shortchanged, saying she was not paid properly and that sales numbers were hidden from her. Then came the GoFundMe. She asked for $100,000, telling supporters she needed help just to stay afloat. The implication was clear. She wanted people to believe the deal had left her stranded and financially harmed. Once again, responsibility was pushed outward, and blame landed on the person trying to stabilize the situation. Dave responded directly. Instead of trading insults, he came forward with documentation. According to him, he had already provided a cash advance as a gesture of goodwill. That money went toward refunding customers from the original rollout, which added up to more than $30,000. From a business perspective, that move was logical. You cannot rebuild trust without cleaning up past damage. Even if you did not cause the original mess, you still fix it if you want the brand to survive. What was meant to be a fresh start instead became another public breakdown. At that point, the pattern was undeniable. When things went right, credit flowed inward. When things went wrong, blame was sent outward. And once again, the pink sauce story kept spiraling instead of stabilizing. Looking back at it now, this is probably something Dave can laugh about. At the time, it was a business decision that looked promising on paper, but in reality, it turned into a headache that never stopped growing. Honestly, Chef P is fortunate the situation ended where it did. A defamation lawsuit would not have been out of the question, and Dave could have gone much harder if he wanted to. Instead, he walked away and let the situation collapse on its own. What made everything even more unbelievable was what happened next. After all that fallout, Chef P tried to go behind the scenes and launch another version of the sauce. This time, it was a dry packet that customers had to mix themselves. Somehow, she still called it pink sauce. Then she doubled down and introduced another version called blue sauce, which felt like the unwanted sequel nobody asked for.
Get a fucking deal, Dave's Gourmet.
More black people, because I feel like our faith is snatched from us from when we young, you know? Oh, don't tell it, don't report this on your taxes, you ain't gonna be able to get food stamps, don't do this. And then you hide yourself, you get so used to taking the shortcut
And let them know, hey, the shipment got damaged, we're aware of this, we will either refund you or send you a brand new bottle of pink sauce, letting them know like, hey, we care. And
you handled your business like a boss. She was like, I made a mistake, I'm gonna rectify it.
Yes.
Okay.
Despite the original products crashing and burning nearly 2 years ago, she never stopped pushing. To this day, she still tries to convince people that her sauce is the future. She has claimed it will one day be bigger than ketchup, as if nothing that happened before ever mattered. The confidence never faded, even when the results clearly did. The bigger lesson here has nothing to do with sauce. It is about jumping headfirst into an industry without understanding it, then refusing to learn when mistakes pile up. Every time accountability came knocking, the response was the same. Shift blame, play the victim, and move on to the next idea without fixing the last one. What makes it frustrating is how avoidable it all was. This never had to happen. She could have stayed in her original lane, kept catering, built credibility slowly, and worked with professionals. Instead, she burned trust publicly and turned herself into an internet punchline. Not a misunderstood entrepreneur, but a cautionary tale people bring up when talking about what not to do. At this point, the pink sauce saga lives on mostly as a meme, a strange chapter of internet history that started with curiosity and ended in disbelief. It is wild how something that began as a fun kitchen experiment spiraled into a full-blown collapse simply because ego kept winning over common sense. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about the pink sauce lady? Do you think she ever had a real chance, or was this doomed from the beginning? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the BeyondFame channel, and share this with someone who remembers this whole saga. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.